Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whenever you are. Welcome to the community live stream. My name is Chuck Tomasi from ServiceNow, and this is the show that helps you be a more effective ServiceNow administrator and developer by giving you not only the answers to the questions on the community, but the thought process, the journey of discovery, the exploration, the learning we go through to get to those questions. So I am here to bring that to you. And let's get started. If you are watching this on YouTube, greatly appreciate it. Go ahead and subscribe to that link you see right there and click like if you find something helpful in the next hour or so. Greatly appreciate it. If you subscribe and turn on notifications, you may get something that looks like that on your mobile device or computer that says the ServiceNow stream is live. Good morning, Steve. Steve's got his notifications on. If you don't have notifications on, we do this at 1 p.m. UTC every weekday that I'm around, which seems to be less and less these days, but I am making an effort to get up at 6 a.m. local time to bring you whatever I can find in the community and make that happen. We also do this on Twitch. If you're watching there, thank you very much. Do see a few people watching and greatly appreciate that as well. If you've got more than just a shout out, like James from the UK does, saying good morning, Goran says, good morning as well. We have an international crew. It's official. We have people from mostly Europe right now. Come on, people in the U.S., wake up. Shouldn't say that too loudly. I think my wife is sleeping in the next room behind me. Shh. If you've got more than a shout out, go ahead and post that on the community. If you've got a question about ServiceNow, if you've got an issue, if you're wondering, how can I do something? Is it possible? Please explain this. Make sure that you are succinct. Provide background context of what you're trying to do, not just a technical question, but the business purpose behind that. Post it in the right community area, and you will stand a better chance of getting your question answered. So that's the community. I don't know what more there is to say about that. Moving right on to the developer portal. We have personal developer instances free. Go get one. You can use ServiceNow, and they are now available to run Madrid, which I will be demonstrating henceforth until New York becomes available next summer. So, or summer in the Northern Hemisphere. I always have to remember. See, there's the announcement that says you can get Madrid on your personal developer instance. I just upgraded one this morning, and I hope it's done. I haven't checked. But the one that I usually use for this show, upgraded last weekend. So ever since January 24th, Madrid has been available. Why should you care? Because that's the latest release, and that has all of the good new candy on it. And we are going to show you some of that candy on February 26th on the next episode of Tech Now. And there's a lot. I need to go practice that webinar and make sure that it actually fits in an hour. Did a quick run through with Craig and Stacy yesterday after we did the mid-server episode, which I will get posted to YouTube hopefully today or tomorrow, because I am out Friday and won't have a chance to do any post-production. So looking forward to that. Good morning, Carolyn. Good morning, John. Good morning, everybody who's joining us. Thank you for joining. And this is an interactive thing, so if you see something, got a question. I know Steve was quick to jump on something I missed yesterday when somebody asked for setting a variable on a catalog item for due date. Wow, that background is really kind of getting a little bit animated. Let's make something more static on meetup.com, where you can go meet up with other developers using the ServiceNow developer account. Steve was quick to jump on something that I had missed. Somebody said, how do you set a variable for business days in the future? I just set it 4 days in the future, and he came along and said, you missed a detail. It was business days, and quickly cleaned up on that. So thank you very much. That's what makes this community great, is, it takes a village to raise a child, and then I heard one that says it takes a Viking to raise a village. I like that. I want to put that on a t-shirt sometime. So meetup.com, where you can find all that good stuff. I'm cruising through this at crazy speed. We also have Knowledge coming up. I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you, May 5th through 9th, Las Vegas, Nevada. Same place as last year, the Sands Convention Center, attached to the Palazzo and Venetian hotels. Nice hotels, by the way. If you can't get one there, there's always walking distance to, I believe it's the Encore or Mirage are close by as well. Bellagio is a little bit down the street, but also a very nice hotel. The conference Pre-conference is May 5th and 6th. Pre-conference training is available. 2 days of lots of training courses that we normally offer for 3 days. And if I remember right, it's about half price. So you can get training on everything from the fundamental system administration stuff, scripting, application development, ITOM, GRC, you name it, it's all in there. Lots of great stuff at the pre-con training May 5th and 6th. And then the conference goes 7th, 8th, 9th with Knowledge and CreatorCon happening at the same time. Lots to do, and I just got more put on my plate. That is not knowledge related. Going to be an interesting discussion with my boss this week. Lucky, it takes a Viking to raid a village. Well, if it takes a village to raise a child, and it takes a... Anyway, never mind. Let's get on with it. I got the herbal tea ready to go. I do not have my Carlton Fields mug. I think it's in the wash, but that's fine. Are we done? No, I need to mention... I don't have the latest webinar slide, but I am working on getting that. Should have it by tomorrow, if all holds well. We also have, oops, I didn't mean to go disappear on that one. I'm back. Any scripts that we write on this will be available in GitHub at the repository that you see there in a folder with today's date. This is January 30th, 2019, so look for that folder. Now we can continue on. That is not the community site. I have a note that says, hey, when you're talking about knowledge, flip over to the community tab, but missed it. All right. And anyway, let's get started with the community. Refresh the page. Go down here into unreplied. We'll start. Oh, before I start with that, time out. I do have a follow-up. There was a question yesterday about I'm not able to find the SC rec item table on Flow Designer. And I said, hey, you know what? I think that's intentional because it's supposed to be attached to the catalog item. And sure enough, I did my homework. It was a last minute homework, but I did my homework. had to rush into the studio going, I got the answer. What you need to do is, and I have this mostly documented in the answer. That is not the answer. It's in here. I have it mostly documented. Let's show all replies. Sorry about the scrolling. Where's show all replies? Show all replies. And I'll see it when I see the picture because I put a picture in here this morning. Someone was partially correct. There is a plugin, Flow Designer Action. It's not Action Step Service Catalog. It's Flow Designer Support for Service Catalog. So Flow Designer Support for the Service Catalog is the plugin. That's what I said yesterday. And I said, okay, activate that. Mine was currently inactive this morning. Once you do that, you will see a new trigger called Service Catalog. And you will get a flow field on Service Catalog. That's what that plugin activates. So I haven't tested this completely. This is a live test. I just activated the plugin. So if you go to plugins, which is going to now take me to the unified plugin and install page, and apparently I've been talking for 30 minutes and doing pre-show prep for longer than that. Let me log in to my personal developer instance, available at developer.servicenow.com. There. Mention a website, ring the bell. Remember, the plugin isn't Kingston, it's London. Yes, it is London Plus. I checked my notes, and that is absolutely correct. It's not available in Kingston. And if I say Flow Designer and scroll down here a little bit, I have Flow Designer support for not this one. I'm going to highlight that. Not this one that says Action Step Service Catalog. That one is installed. It's Flow Designer support for the Service Catalog. I installed that one this morning, and what I found was under Flow Designer, open up the designer, and I will create a new flow. Call this CLS Demo 1 because I am extremely lazy this morning. And now under the trigger, rather than saying trigger on updated or created, you say trigger Service Catalog, and that's the only trigger you need. And if I say, let's make an action to create a log message, it says, hello world. And I can take let's take the requested item record. Notice that it is triggered on the requested item record. And we'll take the number. Hello world number. Not very original, but that's okay. Put a done on that and a save on that. And if I do a test execution, I can pick a requested item record and run that test. Now, what I would normally see, or normally execute this after I activate it, don't forget, there's my log, click the log step, and it says, hello world request item 1. Isn't that fascinating? From the catalog item definition side, maintain items is where I maintain these items. And I think I was working on something yesterday, was I not? Sort Z to A, CLS item demo flow is here. I was making a silly item. And underneath process engine, we now have a flow field. You can pick one or the other, and the other will go read-only once you select it. So I select my service catalog item request. That's not the one I picked. I made one called CLS demo. Oh, I didn't activate it. It's probably got a reference qualifier on there. Save that, and it will use that. I thought workflow went read-only at this point. Could be wrong. It was supposed to. You've been redirected to all applications. Yeah, fine. So that's where you pick the flows. So I believe it was Deepak asked that. Where is it? Yes. Deepak asked that. Activate the plugin. Use the flow. Activate the flow. In fact, let's just finish this test and say, activate this. I want to see it show up in that test. I want to see it show up in that item, excuse me. So now that it's activated, can I select it? And the answer is yes. So there is a reference qualifier that says this flow must be activated. Wouldn't do you much good if it wasn't activated, wouldn't it? And that's how you trigger them. Very much the same process as creating workflows and then attaching them to the item in this way. You don't trigger off of that. Otherwise, you'd be putting this trigger is activated on this table, and you'd have to always put a condition on it that says this is for this item. And that doesn't allow you to use the same flow without going back and it just, no. It's easier to do it this way because the same flow may be used for multiple items. You don't have to go back and modify the flow when you want to attach it to an item. Kind of see what I'm saying on that condition, trigger condition thing? If you did it the way that he was trying to do it by attaching it to a record on a table, you'd have to put a condition that says, is it for this item? Is it for this item? Is it for this item? Is it the first? Not the way to do it. Not the way to do it. Gord says, remember the plugin isn't on by KISS. Yep. It's changed, so it isn't read-only anymore. I guess many people were annoyed by it, or it's a bug. Well, the fact that it's not read-only, interesting. That might be a Madrid thing, because in London it was read-only. Some people are going to think, well, if I put both in there, is it going to run both? That's why I thought read-only made more sense. But apparently, if it was confusing, somebody addressed it. I'll find that out. I'll ask Harry Nelson. I thought I had a second topic. Oh, yes, I was scanning through the community this morning. I came across this one. Somebody was saying, this is an old thread that says single line is showing as multi-line. And in there, where's my show all replies? There's an attribute mentioned in here. And it says the attribute is multi-text true. I did not find that on the docs site, which is, where'd it go? Do I not have the docs up here? I do have the docs up here. Let's go to the latest and greatest Madrid dictionary attributes. Search for dictionary attributes, and I get this wonderful article that has a whole bunch of them. Okay, maybe recognize a few of these. However, is multi is not in here anywhere. And I'm wondering, A, why isn't that documented? B, does any other dictionary entry use that? So if I go to the dictionary, system definition dictionary, or you could go to sys_dictionary.list. Let's leave that. We're done playing there. And I do a search where attributes contains, is multi. Run. Hey, look at that. Fascinating. 67 of them. Lots of them in the CMDB. So let's pick a random one. Top one looks fine. CHG social something something something. Is multi-text false? So doesn't say what the length of this field is. It's a field list, so it's going to be pretty darn long. Why would you want that on a interesting field list? Curious. This is of type field list. This is of type, maybe it's a common thing to do with type field list. I'm exploring here. No idea where we're going with this. CMDB identifier has a field list. Interesting. Field list, field list, field list. Let's do something different. Let's say, and type is not field list. Look at field list, field list, field list. Oh, here's one that's type wiki. So apparently it's used a lot in field list. There's one that's string. How long is the string? Twice as long as half its length. That's the answer. Doug Schultze used to say that a lot. I don't know if he still does or not. Doug Schultze is a very smart guy when it comes to discovery and CMDB mid servers, and I always used to. He always used to use that ambiguous question: how long is a piece of string? The answer is twice as long as half its length. So this is 270. Let's go do an experiment. Let's switch over to Studio, and we'll pick on my favorite community live stream application that is good for just making a general mess of things. We'll take the Chuck table. You can make a general mess of things without really worrying about too much messing up. And I am going to experiment with strings. Show you something interesting. Don't know if you knew this or not. We'll start with design form, which brings up the form designer on my Chuck table. Fun thing about this show is I never know where it's going to take me. And let's take a string field, put it over here. I know there's 1,000 different ways. Okay, maybe 997 different ways you can make a field. This is my way I'm doing it today. And we'll call this, let's see, CLS string field. And we'll call this CLS string. You know what? Having the name on there just isn't any fun. And I am going to leave this the maximum length, the minimum default length is 40. So when you create a string field of size 40, let's go back here to CLS, my Chuck table. I have a record, and on the form, I should now have my new CLS field, and it shows up like this. Let me do a little different demonstration. If I do a show, come on, show. This form is generally, look at that, I got an embedded list in the middle, I've got URL fields, and I show that, it will say, welcome, you have a string 40. That's kind of the minimum default string. If I take the form designer and drag this down into the full length section, how does it render? I now have a short field, but I'm rendering it full length. Redraw the form, and I get a full length field. But note, that doesn't make it bigger than 40 characters. I could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Copy that. 20, 30, 40. Paste, 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 paste. Doesn't do me any good. It's 40 characters, and that's all you're going to get. Okay, so it is still 40 characters, even though it's displaying as a very wide field. If I then change the minimum length to, go here, change this to 100, obviously it will do exactly what you think. I'm taking this step by step because ServiceNow doesn't like you making fields shorter. You could potentially truncate something. Let's take that, reload it, and now I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Done. Okay. Still behaving as we would expect. However, there is a point when you go over, I want to say it's 100 or 200 characters. I can't remember the numbers. Anybody in the community on the live stream remember the length where it starts to go to a multi-line field? It might be 1,000, but let's ramp this up gradually and say 200. Save. I used to know this number, and it must be early morning that I can't remember why it's not doing that. Reload. At some point, this is going to go to be a multi-line text field, which is usually what you want when you have a lot of text. So 200 doesn't do it. All right, there is 200 characters. Let's go a little bit more. Goran says 256 is what he thinks. All right, then for that argument, we'll go 255. Not 20. Let's see what happens at 255. I think you're right. That number stands out in my mind as well. Reload that. The fun you can have with string fields. And we haven't even got to that attribute yet. Oh, 255 is still, there's 200. There's 255 because it got halfway through. Good, good. All right, just for fun, let's bring that up to 256. Nowhere else in my job can I sit here and do stuff like this. Let's try this. Let's try that. It's for educational purposes. I did save that, did I not? Yes, I did. Okay. Reload the form. Not having good luck with the menu today. And when you get to 256, it becomes a big text field. And henceforth, any number bigger than 256, or bigger than 255 really, because 256 is bigger than 255, 256 and onward will render it as a big string field. So does it stop you? It does not. When you get a big string field, you can keep typing and typing and typing, even though this says, I am of max length 256. What happens when you save? It says, too bad, I'm going to truncate that string for you. It doesn't. Ooh, that was a weird moment because I thought it did. I saved it. It saved all these characters. So anything after 256 is kind of meaningless. I thought it was anything after 1,000 is meaningless. I know that 0 to 255 is 256. You think I didn't count binary before? Come on, Steve. That is interesting. So anything above 256, even though the max length of this string is 256, and I can do that by show 256. I can also look at the dictionary entry for that. If I went to Studio, refreshed that, reload the form, and I will have a CLS string in here that says, where is it? LMNO. Where'd it go? Search for label contains CLS. 256 is the max length. All right, this is interesting. I did a reload on that. So it did save all the characters. The name of the field is CLS string. Name of the table is 66238 CLS Chuck. You know where I want to go next? Scripts background. Let's get the sysid. Let's just get the whole URL of that record. Scripts background. I want to see what it reports. I suspect it's going to report the whole string. So here is my table. This is why I like to copy the URL sometimes. Make that just a touch bigger for you. And there is my sysid. Bar chuck equals new glide record. Paste that in. Chuck.get. Go get the sysid. Get rid of the rest. Because URLs don't make good comments unless you take out the HTTP colon. And then gs.info. chuck.getValue. What's it called? CLS string. See what happens. I get the whole really. That's more than 256. I can tell by glancing at it. Interesting. So anything over 256 and over is pretty much unlimited. I thought it was 1,000 and over, which is fun when you go to the form designer or form layout and it asks you for the string length, or the dictionary will do that as well. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Go in here, open this up, and if I say configure dictionary on that field, right click on the field label, configure dictionary, make that a little smaller. And it says what, I'm sorry, that's not where it was. It was only under form layout. This is curious. Configure form layout. If I were to create a new field, down here it says field length, medium, large, or extra large. There's really no difference between large and extra large. And now we know there's really no difference between 256 and above. It's a feature. So where I was going with this was that dictionary attribute. And while I had the dictionary up there, I should have taken a look at it. So let's go back to configure dictionary. And we can turn on advanced view, which is down here. If you haven't seen this before, brings up a few extra fields. Before there was an advanced view, this got really confusing. I already have edge encryption enabled equals true. That doesn't mean that it is going to encrypt this field. It means you are able to encrypt this field. And you are not able to encrypt every field. So this just says it's a candidate to be enabled. If you're doing a field chooser, have fun, you can choose it. Just understand what that attribute means. I can either put that here, or I'm always curious, under the related list, these two generally stay in sync, if it's even available here. Let's look for multi, and no, it's not there, because not all attributes are here for whatever reason. 107 of them. This is coming from the dictionary attributes table. What is that connected to, and why doesn't it show me all the attributes? Show attribute is pointing to sys schema attribute M2M. That's nice. However, if you know the name of the dictionary attribute and it's not available in that quick, easy pick list, you can risk a human error. Was it multi-line? Is multi... it's not the one. This one. Is multi-text equals false. Let's go change that. Is multi-text equals false. A little bit bigger so you can see that, what I was doing. And that's all I did, is added comma is multi-text equals false. When I save that, it should, oh, it doesn't appear down here. Interesting. This may be even scarier than I thought. I have less confidence right now than I did a moment ago. Let's go back to my Chuck record and see if it actually affected that. It did not. Maybe it's only for list fields and wiki fields, but there was one for the string. We did our research. I wrote Muttley. Okay, that's why this is fun. Thank you very much. Let's go back and check my dictionary attributes. Advanced view. And I did write Muttley. LTI. That's been known to happen. Transposed a few. All right, I am going back to that reference field. Don't let me forget, Goran. And oh boy, look at it. It's a single line of text, and it goes on and on and on and on. The question is, can you keep going with the bigger than 256? Just making it a single line suddenly impose 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 200. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's a multi-line text thing. If you have single-line text, it will enforce the limit. If you have multi-line text, it does not. Ooh, which brings up the next question. Okay, see, I can't paste anything more in here. Paste, 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 paste. It's not going anywhere. We're just learning all kinds of fun today. And if I save that, I should have saved my little script from before. If I save that, it gets saved. So I can have a big string field and now enforce a limit. Although I don't really much care for putting probably more than 255 characters in a single line field. You may have a reason. I don't. If it's like a JSON formatted object, this is going to look horrendous. Where the next question was, what if you took a 40 character string? Let's go create another one. Form designer, string field. We're just going to drag this one out. And we know that if we put it, let's put this one here. Make a big string field. Big string. And we are going to make this 1000. We know the behavior, how that will render, how that will behave. We can put unlimited number of characters in there. You're right, I could go back in my history, but I've gone pretty far back in the history. I'm fine without it right now. Do that, and I get my new big string field, which has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 200. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 300. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 400. Okay, so I've got lots and lots and lots of characters in there. And of course, that's how I would expect it to behave as a big text field of 1,000 characters. So the next question is, if I configure the dictionary and set that to true or false, will it stop? I guess I should have done a little less than 1,000. That was kind of insane for me. Now I have to copy all those characters again. Go to Advanced View and make it a single line field. Will it enforce that 1,000 character limit? See if I can type this right this time. Is multi-text false? Squish it down to one line. And is that it? That's it. Update. Back to the form. So it's one line. Now let's get rid of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 100. Copy that. We're going to do this fast. 200, 300. Yes? Am I doing? No. Okay, try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 100. Copy. 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000. And I'm typing other characters. Interesting. Single line text fields enforce a limit. Multi-line gets turned on by default at 256. You can turn it off and still enforce it with that is multi-text attribute. We learned all kinds of stuff through experimentation today. Wasn't that fun? Okay. If I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, nothing comes out. I'm at 1,000. That's 1,000 characters. That's as big as the string is going to get. Seems a bit wacky to me. But I kind of understand a historical precedence for multi-line text fields not truncating. Because time was when we didn't have a script field. Script fields looked like, let's save that. Script fields looked a lot like your friend and mine script's background. They didn't have line numbers, and you'd get error messages. Yes, I remember this as a kid. They didn't have line numbers, and you get an error message that says, check your script at line 179. Like, which one is line number? You'd copy it out to an external editor or manually count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not fun, kids, not fun. So we got line numbers. We got a better editor. TinyMCE is the current built-in editor, and it works very, very well. But it's still storing it in the database as a string field. So there must be some behavior on the single line widget that enforces the limit. That might be at the browser level. That's the only thing I can think of. Let me, I'm not saying I'm going to find an answer here, but if this, let's see, we want to look for big string. Let's view source. We don't do this too often. No, I want frame source. View frame source. Let's find biggest stringus. Big string. There it is. And somewhere in here, we have, there's the data. Do we have a limit in here? Div ng non-bindable, div class, controls, div input type hidden, value, ID, input, max length 1000. Okay? And there's the value. So it's got the original value, the new value, all that good stuff. That's that's outside the onChange. Okay, so it's got the value there. If I take that off, does it take out the max length thing? I'm guessing yes, it does. So let's go back to configure dictionary. We're getting to the how does this work? Take out our dictionary attribute. Oh, look, is multi-text showed up here because now I spelled it right. I can now just delete it from here. Oh, apparently I can't. No, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to, fine, we'll do it this way. Advanced view. Remove that, or just say true. Let's just leave it as true. How about that? We'll test this, because we haven't tested this yet. This could reveal more mysteries of the universe. We're doing this entire show just on one string field. It's kind of fun. The record. Open it up. We're back to multi-line text. We've got lots and lots of characters. We can put in more if we want. Save that. So what happens if you have more than 1,000 characters and you put it back to max level? Ooh. Okay, that's the next thing we're going to try, is will it truncate it for us? But first, let's find out what frame source says. Find big string. And I do not see a max length in here. Look at that. So I've got my value text. It's not, oh, because it's a text area. It's not an input string. Interesting. Is max length an attribute for text area? This is where we go to W3 schools. This may not be a valid attribute. Search for input HTML input tag and attributes max length. Okay. Now search for text area. HTML text area tag. Oh, there is a max length. We just don't use it. Fascinating. I wonder if there's a story behind that. So the next question is, since it's not enforced at the dictionary level, and apparently not at the database level, what happens if you have more than 1,000, which we currently do, then we put the dictionary attribute, that's my table, get rid of that, put the dictionary attribute back to single line, will it truncate it? This is called follow along with the confused guy. How do we learn? We keep asking questions and say, that's odd. Scientific principle applied here. This is one of the few places where I can actually say computer science is like science. False. Most of the time I think of software more as an art form than a... Okay, so here is my string. It's got lots and lots of stuff in it. Can we add another character? We cannot add a character. Even if we delete that last F, and put in an X. We can't put in an X. It is enforcing it because that's the way this input tag, which is find big string, enforced by this attribute here on the input tag, which stretches all the way back to here, along with the value, and has some other stuff up there, eventually ending here, has this max length attribute in it. So it's not going to let me do that, but will it truncate? Will it truncate? So I took off the F, and I say save, and then I go out here, and no. Okay, so it's not going to mess with a field that's longer than that limit. It's just saying you can't enter more than that limit. That's what I would expect out of a browser. It's not doing the truncation. Good, 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 good. Wow, all of that out of one dictionary attribute. That was crazy. But informative. All the things you can do with string fields, you can make them big, you can make them little, and text area does not enforce a max length, which, like I said, I kind of get, because if you're writing a script in the old days, you didn't want it to truncate and say, okay, you're done writing your script. Before you can continue, you must you must go change the dictionary entry for this field. Like, no, I don't think so. So at some point, somebody must have said, you know, big is big. Just deal with it. It's a big text field. It's a big text. It's probably stored as a different object or a really large varchar in the database. I will check on that and see if I can get you info on that in the next episode. So, did I actually get timed out on this? The community logged me out. I can't just hit enter. I have to click sign in. I thought you could hit enter. Must be 2 input or 2 submit tags on there. And look, we got email. Hooray. First, I want to put it there. This was a very interesting discussion. And you can find out more on today's episode. Thanks for the info on is multi-text equals false. It led to a really fun discussion on the community live stream today. And do I have a link for this? Yes, I do, but I can't tell what that link is from here. I'll put it in later. Actually, you can find out more at this URL. No. YouTube URL. YouTube URL is capital Y. User Service Now Community. Thank you. HTTPS youtube.com User Service Now Community. Whoops. Darn motor skills, they wanted to type servicenow.com. Done with that discussion. Let's go back to the inbox, see what's happening there. We might actually get something done today. Not able to find the SC rec item table. There's more discussion to be had on here. Let's go to content. About the plugin, the Flow Designer plugin. What's the reply? Show all replies. So you got to turn this thing on. There's no reply there. Where's the latest reply? Come on, Deepak, what do you got? This is already active. Just found this out when you request Flow Designer catalog to be installed through high support. No, you don't. No, you don't. And then I said, it seems to be available for admin access on Madrid. Oh, you're right. That plugin was not visible to admins on London. I did go back and check a London instance. So where's the response to this thing? Kind of crazy. Thanks a lot. All right. Well, if I solved your problem, let me know. Done and done. Good discussion on that one. What else do we have? Is it possible to set up a mid server? No. Where's my other? Oh. It's down here. I had one buried from earlier. Gotta look for the blue dot. Here's the blue dot. There's still one that's unread. Blue dot means it's unread. How far back do I have to go? I think I was saving it as a response or something to discuss in the show. And if I don't find it, no, we're way, way past today. This all should have been read yesterday. Watch closely for the blue dot on one of these. Otherwise, that counter in the upper right might be off just a little bit, which I've seen before, especially on the old Jive software. I got nothing. Let's do a page refresh. Still says there's one out there. That's why I want a button that says show just the unread ones. Somewhere there is an unread one. There is a forum for community feedback. If you want to get a feature requested, it is, oh, who remembers what it is? I don't remember now. All forums. It wasn't intuitive to me. It's not like, it wasn't developer community. Anybody remember the name of that? Where you could have features. Maybe it was under one of these. Partner leaderboard, how to earn points, training and cert. Member feedback. That's what it is. Member feedback is where you can go and say, hey, I want a button on my inbox that says, show me just the unread messages. So, and you can upvote these things. So in case you didn't know that and you spot something in the community software that you want, or a bug, or fixed, or whatever, go to resources, member feedback, see if it's already there, of course. Some questions don't load after clicking them. I noticed the inbox has a bit of an issue with that. It gets stalled out. I'll be reading through the inbox and all of a sudden it won't refresh that right panel. Bizarre. Okay. Can we get one more question in here today? I think so. Let's look for something that's unreplied. Add icons to KB categories in the widget. Let's see what this is all about. I have no idea what they're asking for. A picture would be nice, which they provide. I will download that and open it with the preview app. So we get, I need to modify KB view 2 default widget to show icons for KB categories. In the KB category table created for field icon with type image and added images for each category. Try to modify the HTML template. Image class icon alt KB category dot icon. But no, we are in London patch 5. Okay. Guess we'd have to see some of the source for this to know what exactly is going on. There might be something a little bit more about how he's setting up the data object. Let's put that in there. Why not? Can you provide, is this at 150? No, it's at 150. The server code that sets up the data object. Images are going to be stored in the sys attachment table, so you're going to have to get those. If it's an image field, some of you may know this, some may not. If you have an image field, which I don't know if I have one on here or not. I've got every other kind of field on here. Let's go back to the form designer, so it's still there. And do I have an image field? I do not, so let's make one. We'll call it image. And make it of type image type. Save that, update that. Who knows where it's going to end up on the form, probably at the bottom. Image fields are kind of interesting. Go back to my form, reload this crazy form that's got every field under the sun. See you later, Steve. Thanks for joining. And my image field down here is a field on the form. This is stored in the sys_attachment table. It's just stored a little differently. And if I pick an image, I don't even know if I have one, but hey, let's take the one that we just looked at. It will store it as a little avatar, a thumbnail on here. So that's the one I just downloaded. This is available on the image field, and if you look at show image, it says field image, type user image. It's on the image field. Now what happens is, unlike these attachments, I'm going to attach the same image up here and then show you the difference in the sys attachment field. So I think we're all familiar with how this gets done with the paperclip and the manage attachments and all that kind of stuff. Sys underscore attachment dot list. Sort them from updated. Good, good, good. The paperclip one is here. It gives the file name that I uploaded, the content type, so that it knows, is this a PDF, is it an Excel spreadsheet? The table name is obviously my Chuck record, and then the sys ID. Now notice that the sys ID on the image field is the same, but the table has the ZZ underscore YY prefix. I don't know if somebody was playing an old adventure game and thought that was cute, but that prefix says this is now attached to a field, and the field name is in here. So we've lost the original attachment name, and frankly, we don't care when it's an image field. You're not going to download this thing. You're either going to update it or delete it, much like you do with your picture on your Uber profile. So that's how these are stored. And if you want to query that image and display it later, you need to remember that image fields have that ZZ underscore YY prefix on them. The table name is still there. So the way to query this would be, go get the record where the sys ID is this record. And if you have multiple image fields on there, you've got image, you've got file 1, file 2, file 3, they will be listed by field. So I want the image that's attached to the image field. Easy enough to do, but there's a couple of quirks that you need to recognize when you're doing that. So that's my little sidebar about image fields versus attachments. Actually, now that I believe London came out with the attachment field. So if I go back to, let's see, my form designer or dictionary, let's add another one and call this one file 1. This is going to be an attachment. Is it file? I can't remember what the field name is called now. File attachment. This one came out in London. So we can add other file types rather than just saying an image. Let's go back to my record 20805, and I will have yet another field down here. And I can then attach, I don't want something other than an image and here. An XML file is very nice. Attach that, and it won't display a thumbnail for it, but it will say you have this crazy field on here. Of course, it wanted to go back to the attachments table. And there it is. It does retain the name of the file there. So where is it storing that? Because it's not an image, let's go back and look at attachments. And this time, it does have the Z. Ooh, how do you know which field? This gets a little confusing. This is interesting because if I have multiple file attachment fields, do I really care which field has which attachment on it? Interesting, interesting, interesting. Oh, and there was somebody who said, here's another neat thing about this. Note that I now have 3 attachments on the same record. If I delete that record, and it says, are you sure? And go back to attachments. It does not necessarily, look at this label undefined. It doesn't delete the files that were attached to the fields. It deletes the attachment that was attached to the record, but not to the fields. So be careful if you are deleting fields, or deleting records, you may be leaving attachments behind. Can file type have just one file? People are asking to be able to separate some files for the end user. If this was the multiple file field, it would be an easy solution. Don't know, Goran. Good question. Well, let's go back to another record since I destroyed that one. We'll take 854. And actually, you know what? Let's go to the table and call this files. I don't think there is a multiple file field. No, there is not. We just have file attachment. So at this point, there's no multiple file attachment to that field. Not sure how that would be represented. It's not like a list field where you would just say sysid, 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 sysid. You'd have to figure out a way to merge the sysattachment field, sysattachment table records that have a table ID, sysid, and file name back to that record if they had multiple attachments. The only other thing I can suggest if they want multiple files attached is either the paperclip or use the related list for attachments. That would allow them to attach multiple files that way. Which leads me to another question. What if you did an embedded list of attachments? Then you could attach them to a new record. So here's an embedded list of items. Okay. And in order to do embedded lists, could do that through form design, but I can do that through form layout. Will it show me the attachments down here? And the answer is yes. Let's put that at the very, very bottom. And now if I create a new record, can I put some attachments in there? This might be another way to do it. New. Go down here. I don't have any mandatory fields, do I? There's attachment embedded list 1. No, can't do that yet. Interesting. You can do it through the paperclip and say pick that file and pick. Come on. The file wasn't that big that last time. Pick this little image. Attach that, and all done. They get attached. This interesting. So you can manage them. You just can't create new ones down here. You could delete them, which would be effectively the same as going up here and saying manage attachments, click, 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 delete. So that is interesting. Let me save that. Can you attach? Let's do form layout again. Configure form layout, take the embedded list out, which would automatically come out if I did this. Oops, fine. We'll take currency off of there as well. The other way I could do this is just configure related lists, and it says you can't have a related list with the same embedded list. So I am going to recognize you have, I don't even see attachments in here. It doesn't even offer that. I have to remove it first. I thought it did it at the same time. We're learning all kinds of crazy things and challenging assumptions today. Form layout. Wait for the form to finish drawing. So I don't click the wrong thing. Attachments, gone. Now it should show up in related lists. Configure related lists. And attachments is back. Can I create new attachments? I don't think so. There should not be a new button down here. Oh, but there is, of course. Oh, that's interesting. And it brings up the little dialog window. Okay, cool. Yeah, reason here is that they say that the 4 attachments, 2 should be visible for the end user and fulfiller should be able to see all. Didn't you just did a video on attachment visibility with ACLs, if I recall. There you go, free plug. I haven't been hitting the desk bell or the Mario coin at all today. So is there any way to enable drag and drop for attachments in forms on record producers? Is that not available on record producers? I know it's available here. I go to my file doodad, just take this WAV file, I can drag that there. That, if I remember right, was an HTML5 browser thingy. So you see it's uploading, uploading, uploading. Let's try it on a record producer. As soon as this is done, or not, record, I don't know if I have a new, I do not have a new safety issue record producer exposed. Record producers. You have a nice day, finish uploading. I do like that little status bar. And if I go to record producers, where is my safety issue record producer? There it is. All right, this is the last thing I'm going to check. I thought it was available. Where is my try it button? I don't want to copy it. Let's go to the safety scope. Oh, there's preview button. Preview item. There's the paperclip. Obviously, we can do the paperclip trick. Let's get a smaller file. Seems to work on record producers. Okay. That's my issue. It is the top of the hour. I appreciate everybody sticking around. Thank you for the insight. Thank you for the typo corrections. And I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow if everything goes right. Don't forget, learn, share, and help. Talk to you tomorrow.